Okay, brothers and sisters in Christ, this is what I want to say. How do we know this book is really from God or not? Well, how do we find out if it's from God or not is if it, by prophecy, could it predict the future accurately? And the question to that answer is yes. And in order for that to happen, God has to have all knowledge about absolutely everything, every detail of every event, absolutely everything. And he has to exist outside of time. You see, God's not afraid to predict the future because it's like nothing for him. It's like an everyday thing. Like for us, it's amazing because we can't do it, but him, he sees it as if it already happened because God doesn't have a past or a future. God has a present. Everything is present before him, like as if it already happened. Now, I want to read this to you guys here because prophecy is very, very important. And I believe the decline of Bible prophecy not being preached today is actually a spiritual warfare, and Satan's trying to keep people from it for everything that is happening right now. He wants people to be in the dark concerning of what's about to happen so that nobody knows. Think about it. If the Antichrist is this close to pulling off his world government and mark of the beast system and all that, which book would he keep Christians from reading? Well, obviously it would be the book of Revelation, because it exposes his plans, even though we won't be here for that, but we have to sound the warning and warn people about it so that people will not be duped and deceived into taking this mark. Okay? But the greatest event that is going to affect everybody on this planet, I believe, is at hand. Like, it's closer than most people realize. And that event that I'm talking about is the rapture of the church. Now think about that when that happens. Suddenly, billions of people vanish off of the face of the earth instantaneously throughout the whole entire world. This world is going to be in chaos. So just imagine when that takes place. Christians that are driving their cars or 18-wheelers, buses, planes, you name it, and the time of the rapture takes place, they suddenly vanish off of the face of the earth. So nobody's no longer under the control of the car, the bus. So what's going to happen? It's just going to crash. It's going to lead up to pile-ups on the highway, leading them to the mercy of passengers, and engulf chaos in the world. Same thing with planes. Planes taking off, planes landing. At the time of the rapture, when that happens, nobody's no longer under the control of the pilot, under control of the plane. So think about that. Because I was talking to my brother today. We were just talking about this. This is going to cause chaos and terror throughout the whole world when this takes place. So I was thinking to myself, like, suppose the two pilots are Christians, okay? And the plane is on autopilot, so it's flying by itself. So imagine at the time of the rapture, boom, the pilots are gone. Nobody's no longer under the control of the plane. So who's controlling the plane? Well, it's under autopilot, which means it's flying it by itself, so no one's there anymore. So that plane's going to continue flying and flying and flying until it just runs out of gas and it's just going to crash to the ground. It's going to be chaos. Like, you can say the same thing about subways underneath the ground. Like, people that go in to take the subway. Like, people that are on the subway and that person's a Christian, boom. It's going to so many things. It's going to be devastating. So definitely, immediately after the rapture, people will be calling for change immediately. And that is how they're going to usher in their long dreams, what they've been planning for a long time now, is what we call the New World Order, a one world government. And this is what was predicted in the Bible over 2,000 years ago. So that's how we know that this book is from the God of the universe, is that he predicts the future specifically, like specific details, and they're all fulfilled exactly, specifically, as he said it would. Prophecy after prophecy shows that. Okay? Because many people try to say, oh, you can't take the Bible literally, blah, 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 blah. Well, explain to me. Explain this to me. God intended for his word to be interpreted literally. You may say, no, he didn't. Okay. Explain this. There is 1,000 signs in the Bible, okay? 1,000. 500 have already been fulfilled literally. And the remaining stuff that will be fulfilled after we're gone are already starting to happen. So yes, God means exactly what he says, and he intended for his word to be interpreted literally, and prophecy after prophecy that has been fulfilled shows us this. Now, I want to say this. It's just sad, man. I don't understand how people can do this. But you know what? I have a friend on my Facebook page. Someone that she knows actually fulfilled prophecy. This person, now I don't know if she was truly saved or not. I don't know. But the person thinks that she was saved. But I don't know if she was. But she thinks that she was, but I don't know. She said she used to be nice. She used to talk to people about Christ and this and this and this and this and that. And now she's turned away from the faith. And guess where she's gone to? The New Age movement. Now she's teaching that she's a little God and this and that. And I want to read that to you in 1 Timothy chapter 4. She actually fulfilled the prophecy, and she doesn't even know it. Look at this. 1 Timothy chapter 4. I'll start from verse 1. Now the Spirit expressly says that in the latter times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons. So they got deceived. Expressly says in the latter times some will depart from the faith, giving heed. So they're giving heed, like they're listening to the deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons, which no question about it is the New Age movement and all that stuff, and all the other religious junk out there. Jesus has nothing to do with religion. You can study the Quran, the Book of Mormons, Confucius, the Hindu scriptures, the Buddha scriptures, you name it. Not even one of them dares to predict the future. And even if some of them do, they never happen exactly word for word as God says. Because like God said, I know not of one. God is calling to challenge other people. You think you're God? Okay, do what I've done. Do what no one else has ever been able to do. I challenge you to predict the future, set it in order, and tell me about it. No one has ever took him on his offer. And that's what God does over and over and over again, prophecy after prophecy. The Bible has a track record of 100% accuracy of prophecy being fulfilled exactly, word for word. It's never made a mistake when it comes to prophecy. And remember that. When Jesus says he's coming to get us before the tribulation, he means it. And that's exactly what we find in the Bible. Regardless of what anybody says to you, prophecy will show when it happens. But anyways, and plus in Peter, like I said, many people need to study Bible prophecy. It's very important. God wants people to understand prophecy. He does not want anybody to be left in the dark. Now I want to read this to you in the book of Peter. Yeah, 2 Peter chapter 1, I'll start from verse 19. And so we have the prophetic word confirmed, which you do well to heed, as a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawns, and the morning star rises in your hearts, knowing this first, that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. For prophecy never came by the will of man, but holy men of God spoke as they were moved by the Holy Spirit. So, if this book claims to be from God, right? Well, then it should contain things in it that only God would know, something like the future. And that's exactly what we have in the Bible, over and over and over again and again. God says, "For I am God, and there is none like me. For I am God, and there is none other." Declaring the end from the beginning. God's going to declare it all from the very beginning. And God is doing it. He predicted it, and he's going to see to it that it happens. So, the Word of God clearly tells us that there's coming a cashless society. And I believe that we are very, very, very close to this from happening. Because you can say, like right now, most people don't even use cash anymore. Very few people use cash. Most people just use credit cards, debit cards, whatever card they have, a MasterCard, whatever you want to call it. And some people actually use their cell phones. Some people use cell phones. You can use cell phones to pay stuff, to do payments for. So why in the world would we use cash if we can just use cards and this and that? And by the way, that's the very reason for crime, isn't it? Over money. This person owed me this amount of money, and this person ripped me off of this, and this and this and that. It goes on and on and on. Prostitution, taxi invasions, bank robberies. So if we eliminate cash, wouldn't they make it better? That's what they're saying. They're trying to make it all sound good. And I just heard this as well. They were saying, oh, cash is filthy lucre. It is dirty. That's why we got the H1N1, because our cash is carrying viruses on it. It's so filthy and dirty. So we need to come up with a new system. And this is what they're doing. They've been at this since the very beginning of time, people. You people need to listen to what I'm saying, because it's not what I'm saying. I'm just telling you what the Word of God tells me. The Word of God tells me specifically that there's coming a cashless society. Remember, the Word of God has never failed, and it never will fail, because God does not lie. He nailed all of them on the head. All the prophecies concerning Jesus' first coming to the earth, He nailed them all, right to the smallest T, right on the head. So he's gonna nail the rest of them right to the smallest detail as well. But these are what these master bankers are calling for, is a cashless society, because they want total control over absolutely everybody. So that's exactly what they're doing, because the only way that they can control people is if they get rid of cash. Because you have cash, you can do whatever you want with it, and yet they don't like that. They want to know absolutely everything. They want to control your life. They can dictate what you can do and what you cannot do. This is where we are, people. This is what people need to realize. You may scoff, you may mock this. Just remember that I'm telling you all this before it happened, okay? And I'm going to tell you the date today. The date today is December 3rd, 2013, and it's Tuesday today. So remember that when this happens. But my prayer for you is that you will come to a realization that this is what's happening. Okay, because I believe that we are very close to this from happening right now. And this is what I want to get into. So they said we have to go to a new system. They were even saying, like, people that don't even know Scripture, like, next time you're at a grocery store, just wave your hand against the scanner. Just saying. Imagine making a payment like that somewhere in the future. And that's exactly what the Bible said would happen. And all these global powers are saying we need to come up with something to help people from identity theft, and they're talking about implanting microchips in the people. Now what does that tell you? It's already here. There's already some people that already have microchips implanted in them. Listen to this. The FDA, in 2002, they implanted a human microchip that can be in people. So that was 2002. Now let's fast forward to 2004. But we have to go back to 2004, but I'm just saying, in 2004, that's when the Verichip Corporation came in with the microchips to verify people. And now you have Digital Angel as well. You have this other place. It's crazy, this name. It's called Alien Technology, all about RFID chips. And it's just incredible, like, the stuff that's going on. Yeah, that Florida family that got a microchip. They said they were concerned over their family and blah, blah, blah. They want them to be around much longer. So they think a microchip's going to make them more secure. And yet they're putting microchips into the Alzheimer's. And yet you have this club in, well, they're all throughout the world, these clubs. The Baja Club, where the VIPs have microchips implanted in their arms. Now, how do they get a drink? They just scan their arm. Everything comes up on the computer. They know what type of person they are. They know their favorite drinks, and that's how they pay for it. They don't even use cash. And the owner of the club or whatever he is, he said that this is a good thing. And he's like, this is the way the future is heading, and this will be a new form of surveillance. Now, how do you like that? Exactly. It's all coming to that. It's all leading up to that. The Bible does not leave us in the dark. The Bible prophecy is what's it called? Bible prophecy is pre-recorded history. It's history recorded before it happens. And yet history is unwinding exactly as the Word of God said it would be. And yet That's exactly what God said, and that's exactly what we're seeing taking place right now. Like everything, I can go on, people. Like with these cameras outside, they're facial recognition cameras that have facial recognition software in it. It scans your face, and it analyzes and it captures your face, the imagery of your face and everything. It sucks it into their database to see if you're wanted in a different part of the world. It's just to see if you're wanted. It's facial recognition software. It captures your face. It scans your face to see if you're wanted in another city or country or town or whatever part of the world that they may have a warrant out for your arrest. So they capture you. Boom, they got you. Because right away when they scan your face, and yet they know that you're wanted, and you have a driver's license, you're already in the database. Everybody's been collected on databases. They have this organization called Axion, ChoicePoint. They have all kinds of databases on everybody. But the real thing, what's happening right now, is they are preconditioning people to willingly accept the cashless society. The propaganda is here. They're conditioning people, programming their mindset to think that it's a good thing. It's convenient. That's another propaganda, that it's convenient. It'll be more faster. And these commercials that they show, where you won't need checkout lines anymore. You just walk through this thing, and automatically it automatically takes money out of your account, which will be digital, as of course. So you don't have to wait in these long checkout lines anymore. You just walk through the scanning machine, boom, it automatically scans, or you just go beep, and that's how you pay for stuff. But what is underway right now, ladies and gentlemen, is biometrics. Keep your mind open for that, okay? Keep your ears open when you hear that on the news, on the television, newspaper, whatever. They are bringing in biometrics. It's already been secretly pushed into the immigration bill through Obama that all working Americans have to hand over their biometrics. Like I heard this, they said by 2014, sometime in the summer, every working American is going to hand over their biometrics, and they already said that it's mandatory that every American person has to hand over their biometrics. And if they don't want to, it's because they're a terrorist, or they're claiming to be American when they're really not. They're somebody else. They're hiding something from us. But that's a bunch of bull. Okay? It's called an invasion of privacy. Now, for those of you that don't understand what biometrics is, biometrics stands for 3 measurements of the body. First, they're going to take your hand. They're going to analyze it, the fingerprints, the thumb, everything on a machine, and then it's into the computer. And then you put these things on your eyes. And then they take a picture of your eyes, and then they take a digital photograph of your face. Now your face and your eyes are in the computer. Now they have you. So that's how you're going to buy stuff. So you see, what does the Bible say? He causes all, not some, not a few, but all. That's the whole world. That's global. He causes all, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark. Where? On the right hand or on the forehead. And that's exactly where the stepping stone of biometrics is leading us to. They're getting people conditioned. They're pre-programming the mind that they can buy stuff with their hands. They're already doing it on the children in schools. They just scan their hand at the school, at the cafeteria, and that's how they do a payment. Even when they go on the computers and they're talking about making this, like these new computers coming out, you won't have to worry about getting hacked or whatever. So in order for you to go online on the internet, you're going to have to do a palm scan or a digital thumb scan. This is where we are, people. Okay? So this is in the Obama thing, in the immigration bill, that all Americans have to hand over their biometrics. They don't have a choice. So the biometric databases are already here. You see how they're getting everybody sucked into the biometrics. They're sucking them all into their matrix system. They're sucking everybody into the computer, and yet 100 years ago this was impossible. It was totally impossible to control all buying and selling. Totally impossible back then. But yet we're the very first generation that all of this is possible, which you would have thought the guy was a nutball that was talking about this, but no. God revealed it to the Apostle John and told him what to write down. And yet look at today. the very first time in human history, we can make that prophecy can come to pass. We are living in a digitalized world. Everything is digits now. Digits. And we're living in a computer age. Everything is computerized. Totally. Everything is computerized, people. And yet, prophecy after prophecy after prophecy is coming to pass exactly as the Word of God stated. So America is going into biometric databases. The biometric databases are already here, people. They are already here. They've been working at this for years, okay? So, the United States of America are going into biometrics. And Japan as well is going into biometrics. What's the other country? Africa is going into biometrics. Mexico is going into biometrics. Europe is going into biometrics. I think this was by this other place, Nigeria. I think Nigeria is going into biometrics by 2014 or 2015. And Israel is already into biometrics. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is going global. This is going global, people. This is their power grid to control the people. This is what's taking place. That's why they're bringing a one world government with a one world currency, one world religion, you name it, one world army, a global political army, one world military power. That's part of the New World Order martial law agenda plan. This is what's all coming down the line right now. And beware of this also. Like it's all biometric. They have this new thing at the hospitals. It's called Patient Secure. Basically, what Patient Secure is we have come up with a new thing to secure our patients' medical information. Because you know what? Some people come in here with the same names, same last names, same birth dates, you name it. So sometimes we confuse the paper with somebody else's data, and we get all mixed up, so we don't know whose is who anymore, so we have a big problem on our hands. So we have done something that would help you, which is biometric. There's this new thing. It's a palm scanning machine. They put their patients' palms on a machine, and that's how they register, and that's how they get all their medical files, just by the palm, just by the hands. Where'd we hear that before? You see, everything's there, man. Everything is here, people. This is what people need to realize is where we're headed towards. This is a cashless society that is coming underway with this new world order that's coming. Because even one of the Rothschilds, he said, I don't care who changes the laws. As long as I control the currency, I control the money. If I control the money, I control the food. If I control the food, I control the people. But they are changing. They're calling for a world law to be enforced. A world law for everybody. This is what's coming down the line, people. They even said the governments of the world are going to enforce this biometrics upon its citizens, upon its people. What's the purpose for it? Well, first purpose for it is control. Tracking, linking, surveilling, scanning, you name it. This is what they're doing, people. So if this happens to us before the rapture, we must resist this, because this is coming down the line really fast. Now, I want to get into this really quick right here. This is in Luke chapter 4, when Jesus was being tempted by the devil for 40 days. I don't think many people realize this, but I want to read it to you guys. Listen to this. Okay. Then Jesus, being filled with the Holy Spirit, returned from the Jordan and was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, being tempted for 40 days by the devil, and in those days he ate nothing. And afterward, when they ended, he was hungry. And the devil said to him, if you are the Son of God, command the stone to become bread. But Jesus answered him, saying, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of God. Then the devil, taking him up on the high mountain, listen to this. This is where it is, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this very carefully. Okay, right here. Then the devil said to him, wait, where was it? Then the devil, yeah, right here. Then the devil, taking him on a high mountain, showed him all, not some, not a few, not a little. It says it clearly. So this must have been a supernatural thing that Satan showed Jesus. Let me continue reading this. Then the devil, taking him on a high mountain, showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. He showed this to Jesus in a moment of time. All the kingdoms of the world. And what else does Satan say? He continued going on. This is the rest of what the devil said to Jesus. And the devil said to him, all this authority, so he has power. You hear that? All this authority I will give you, and their glory, for this has been delivered to me, and I give it to whoever I wish. Therefore, if you will worship before me, all will be yours. See how slack Satan is? Worship me, and I will give you what your heart desires. Whatever you always wanted will be yours. Just think about it. What you never had before. But if you just do one thing, worship me, follow me, and I will make you popular. I will give you what you always wanted. So what did Jesus say? Let's find out. And Jesus answered and said to him, get behind me, Satan. For it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only you shall serve. Now this is so incredible, because I want to explain that, but I want to read it again, then I want to explain it, because this is all tied into what is coming here. Okay, where was it? Yeah. Then the devil, taking him up on a high mountain, showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said to him, all this authority I will give you, and their glory, for this has been delivered to me, and I give it to whoever I wish. So that I give it to whoever I wish. Therefore, if you will worship before me, all will be yours. So you see that? Satan said, he showed Jesus, okay? He took Jesus on a high mountain. He showed him all the kingdoms of the world. He said, all of this is mine. It has been given to me, and I can give it to whoever I will. I just ask you of one thing. Worship me, and it will be yours. So you see that? All the kingdoms of the world have been given to me, and I can give it to whoever I want. So think about that. Jesus did not correct them. You see that? Jesus did not correct them. So the kingdoms of the world indeed belong to Satan. That's why after in Revelation says the kingdoms of this world have become the kingdoms of our God and of his Christ. So Jesus is going to come and steal it from them. He's going to come take it back because it's originally God, but because Satan fell, he stole it. But you see that? Jesus allowed that to happen, for Satan to have the kingdoms of the world. But you see what Satan said, I can give it to whoever I will. So who's Satan going to give that to? Well, obviously, think about it. Satan's going to give the kingdoms of this world to the Antichrist. He's going to rule the whole world. And believe me, the Antichrist is going to worship Satan. Because there's going to come a time, if you read the book of Revelation, that the Antichrist is going to be possessed by Satan. Satan is going to incarnate his body. Like, this is what's taking place, people. This is what people need to realize. We are very close to this from happening. Because if you go to Revelation chapter 13, verse 7, it's clearly identifying, speaking of a one world government, right here. Revelation chapter 13, verse 7. Listen to this. And authority was given him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. Now what does that say? Let's see it again. And authority was given him over every tribe. You see, every tribe, which means all the tribes of the earth, and tongue, which means all the languages, and nation, and all the nations. Now, if that's not a world government, what is? That's clearly talking about a world government. Just look at it. Let it speak for itself. And authority was given him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. And then verse 8 is talking about a one world religion. All who dwell on the earth will worship him. will worship him. And if you go to 16 to 18, look what it says. He causes all, both small and great, rich and, so that's all, not a few, not a little, not some, all, the whole entire globe, the whole world. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to what? To receive a mark. Not a new credit card, not a new debit card, not a new money or coin or dollar or whatever. It says a mark. It's clearly talking about a cashless society, people. That's how you know this book is from God. Predicts the future accurately, and everything in this book has foretold the history of the world, and you can know the future. You don't have to go to these stupid horoscopes and all this demonic stuff. You go to the Word of God. For God says, "For I am God, and there's no other God. I am God, and there's none like me." Declaring the end from the beginning. God declared all this before it even happened. And yet history is unwinding exactly as he said. So it says clear, to receive a mark. Not a new money, not a new credit card, but a mark. It's clearly talking about a cashless society. So it's going to be, with time, obviously, they're going to be getting rid of cards, and everybody's going to have to take a mark. Because they don't want the card. They want to know your every move. Because with a card, what are you going to do with a card? You know, they want something inside of you, or a mark, a tattoo mark, or a laser mark, a biometric mark, or it'll be an RFID chip, a biometric ID, biometric chip, or whatever computer chip it will be, so they can know your every move. All they have to do is Google your microchip, and they'll know where you are at all times. This is where we're headed, people. For real. This is not a joke. This is reality. This is what's taking place. So let me read it again from 16. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, in that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark. Total control, financial control. Without this, you're not going to be able to buy or sell, which means they're going to be getting rid of the black market. No more cash, no more nothing. Who has the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. This is exactly where we are headed, people. They're getting people conditioned. With time, they're going to have no more. They're not going to have cash in the economy. They're going to a cashless economy. No more. It will not be supported by cash anymore. Everything is done electronically. This is why they're bringing in biometrics, people. Even the FBI said the next generation identification is biometrics. They worked on a billion-something program on biometrics. This is what's happening. They're bringing it in. So I just had to warn you guys of what's coming. And this is what the Word of God says. It's not what I'm saying. It's what God's holy Word says. Remember, this was all prophesied in the Bible before it happened. God's going to prove to you that He exists. Well, He already has over and over again by fulfilled prophecies. Anyways, I'm signing off, and God bless you all.